All indoor foliage in the old-timey greenhouse, 20% off. Check the ad, then come out to Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens this week on Southeast 38th Street, Ocala, daily till 4, Saturdays till 3, in the same blooming place since 1952.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Thank you for tuning in. 22 minutes after 8 o'clock. Nice looking day out there. You know, we're almost up to 17 years doing this, Robin.
I know. This is pretty amazing.
So almost means that 17 years ago I was doing something different.
Yeah.
I was doing something different 18 years ago, the day before September 11, 2001. You know where I was? I was working at what is now Brookdale. Can you believe it?
I know. That's pretty amazing.
We've been back to Brookdale. It's a beautiful facility, and it's just it's an amazing job that they do to help out our elderly neighbors who happen to live there, call it home, and it is a home. Mary Sue Patchett is on the phone. She's been with us before. She's the Executive Vice President of Operations at Brookdale. She's going to tell you how to start a conversation about senior living. This is more important than you realize. If you haven't reached that point in your life or your parents' lives, I know it's a tough one, but you have to. This is an important subject. Good morning, Mary Sue. How you doing?
Good morning, Larry. I'm doing great, and thank you for allowing me to join. First of all, happy anniversary! Congratulations!
Yeah, right.
Years. And glad you understand what we do here at Brookdale. You've made a difference in people's lives.
Oh, that is sweet.
So that's terrific.
That's very sweet of you to say. Yeah, and it is. My own mother went through this. Years. She's now passed, but I can remember when she told me that please don't ever put me into a facility, and I said, okay, you got it. It's never going to happen. Even though I knew how nice they were, and even though she knew how nice they were, she asked me that. And then you know what happened? Like a year before she actually needed it, she said to me, you know what? I'm going to change my mind about this. Maybe I might need it, so forget what I told you a few years ago. And then she ended up, I think maybe the last year of her life was in one of the facilities locally. So how do you start that conversation? In my case, she started it, right?
Yes, I was going to say you were very fortunate, but I have a feeling it's because you already knew a lot about the industry and probably were having conversations about how great life could be and the services that were able to be provided. So she felt comfortable in being able to approach things with you. So, I just wanted to quote a recent survey just so that everybody feels comfortable about where they are in making this decision to start a conversation, and that it's really critical. So we surveyed 2,000 Americans through one poll at Brookdale Senior Living. And do you know that 58% of children with parents of the age of 67 or older kind of worried about them living without assistance? So we're already worried. I'm in the same situation, too, with my parents right now. 2 out of 5 have not discussed future living plans with their parents at all. And then nearly 2/3 of adult children polled said that talking about senior living was uncomfortable and stressful. So if you're out there and you're in that situation, you're not alone. But here's one thing that I would advise, and Larry, sounds like you had kind of been doing this with your mom, maybe just unofficially, and that is start the conversation now and say to your parents, I know you're planners, and one of the things that I just want to ask you is, if you get to the point where you no longer can take care of yourselves, what is it that you would like to have happen?
Really?
And that way, you can help us now in this conversation in making some decisions for the future. It's much better to do it now, where there's time to talk through finances, to talk through lifestyle, to talk about, who lives near which, son or daughter, perhaps, or in which community, like a Brookdale community, before there's an emergency that causes you to make a decision without their.
Right.
And taking care of yourself could mean, just making sure that you're eating 3 meals a day and that you're able to take your medications, because Brookdale is an all-inclusive community. You have you have activities, you have different spas, you have different trips that you go on, and you have that social interaction with other people of various backgrounds.
That's so true, Robin. There are two things that probably start the emergency-like decision, and that is poor nutrition, not eating well, and not taking your medication. So that's interesting. What we hear from residents who move in with us, they say, I was lonely, and I had no idea living on my own, even though I kind of could still take care of myself. They always say, I wish I had made this decision a lot earlier.
I love hearing that. That is the one thing I think I've observed, is that we all think that we'd rather not be like in a new community, because no matter what age you are, you're not really comfortable all of a sudden being the new kid on the block.
Mm-hmm.
But it just takes a couple of bingo games or a couple of mystery rides, and next thing you know, you got a friend and then two friends and then four friends, So
yes, well, and I think Larry, it sounds like you did this with your mom. Many seniors have in their mind what it used to be like, and the only choices 40 years ago were nursing homes. And so breaking that stigma of nursing homes and understanding that this is truly an active lifestyle decision as well, I think that's critically important. So one of the things that can be done while you're starting the conversation is like, hey, Mom and Dad, let's go tour some places. Many communities like Brookdale offer all kinds of events and activities so that the community can come in and experience life without making a decision. And as you're working through the process of finances or care needs or options, our advisors at Brookdale really want to help seniors who are looking for the best place for them. And hopefully, we hope as a Brookdale community, we offer a wide range of housing and care services, but in some cases it may not be the best option for them, but we'll help you make a good decision. And so our advisors are there to help you start the conversation or to look through options.
And when you conducted the survey, was the survey including family members as well as the potential client for Brookdale for the ages?
Yes. And it was also people who had made the decision for Brookdale and who had not. So it was a pretty good audience to survey.
Do you know
That's wonderful.
Here's the experience is that the best was saved for last, and literally, because the first thing we noticed was how beautiful the facility was. The next thing we noticed was how nice the people were, or maybe how good the food was, or how fun the activities would be. But the best was saved to last. It was the people there themselves, the ones who lived there. That's what made it the best.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It truly is amazing. I have a story of an 82-year-old resident who had just recently moved in. We had a chance to speak with her, and she was the one who started the conversation with her daughter because she was living on her own and had become really lonely. And they looked around at several places, and fortunately, they did choose a Brookdale community, and now she's like the social butterfly of the community. And she said, I wish I had done this so much earlier because now I have friends my own age and lots of things to do. So.
Isn't that something? Yeah. And the talents of people who are 95 years old are just as viable as the talents of somebody who's 25. And I can remember the ladies painting and growing plants and and the men too.
The fellows were there too.
Well, it would be, but it was mostly ladies.
Yeah.
I'm not being despondent against my own gender. I know. I want to be there too.
You'll be very popular, Larry. Well, great. Well, if your listeners need additional information or just really getting started in their journey with their parents, we do have lots of resources available on brookdalenews.com. And one of the newest features that we've just added that I have found families have really enjoyed is an ebook on how to start the conversation with your parents. And so I hope that'll be helpful to your listeners.
Yeah, it really is an important topic, and if you can get past that one little burden, then you're home free. Because once that conversation happens, then everybody's on the same page, and that's why it needs to happen. Mary, so good to hear from you. Where are you? Did you tell me already? Where are you?
So I'm based in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, in Nashville, that's right.
And in Nashville, Tennessee, and we have over 100 communities in Florida, and really just a shout out to all of you in Florida who made it through the hurricanes and storms. We care for about 10,000 Brookdale residents and associates who were within the storm track, and they did a beautiful job caring for our residents. And I know the public and the people that you speak to, I'm sure you were preparing them as well. So thank you for that. We were all happy.
Thank you.
Florida made it through well.
Yeah. Mary Sue, good to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Larry and Robin.
All right, we'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Here is your 1-minute news brief. A fire caused extensive damage yesterday evening to a portion of the Market of Marion Flea Market south of Bellevue. No injuries were reported. Former Attorney General of El Salvador Douglas Melendez-Ruiz will lead workshops on justice reform and anti-corruption at Florida International University. An Okaloosa County school bus driver has been charged with child abuse for shaking a child who is in a wheelchair and cannot speak. Bay County school district officials say they found a bearded dragon in a middle school student's backpack yesterday. More than 100 Bahamians who hoped to evacuate to Florida after Hurricane Dorian were kicked off a ferry because they did not have visas. A Brandon woman has been banned for life from Walt Disney World after she hit a taxi driver because he did not give her a cigarette. And Universal Studios' new Halloween Lagoon show is called Marathon of Mayhem and is billed as a tribute to horror films. And that is your news brief from The Source.
Times of sun and clouds on this Tuesday with a high in the upper 80s along the coast, about 93 inland, and partly cloudy Tuesday night, lower 70s inland, mid to upper 70s along the coast. For Wednesday, partly sunny and becoming breezy in the afternoon with a shower in spots near the coast, but dry inland, high 86 on the coast, 90 inland. Thursday, intervals of clouds and sunshine. It'll be breezy at times later in the day, along